the Sleep Geek Podcast. It's a raucous romp through the mattress industry with your hosts, Mark Kinsley and Mark Quinn. Dos Marcos. Mattress industry mavens, hang on to your quilted pillow tops because this tick's about to get real.
I promised 12:45 we'd be live.
And here we are.
So here we are. Nice quilted jacket. Happy 2018 to you.
Thank you. Should we do that?
Yeah, there we go.
How about that?
Look at you.
Yeah, happy 2018.
Hey,
Pretty
you know,
nice.
I
Did
listened to our podcast last year,
As did I.
and I realized that I had the same reaction to 2017, the beginning of 2017, as I'm having to the beginning of 2018.
So you limped in.
Which is, can I go ahead and blur this out?
I can see.
You can see
That
it.
was nasty. What are you
What?
doing, man?
This one is new.
So why? Did you have family in again? Or
No, it's just, you know, if I were to tell people, look, it's June, and for the next month, you're going to overeat,
Yes.
overdrink a couple of times,
Yes.
drink plenty, eat plenty, and then family's going to be there to watch you the whole time. You're going to interact with them almost nonstop. Friends are going to come in from out of town.
Okay.
You'd be like, this sounds wild and crazy, but
Right.
then on the 31st day, guess what? I want you to have abs.
No.
And I want you to be
It's
ready
unrealistic.
for your...
Why
Yeah.
do that? Why have that expectation?
That's why I'm like, let's kick the can
No,
down
man,
a couple
you-
of weeks.
So I listened to something. I don't know. Radio.
Greg, are we recording on the podcast side of things yet? No? Hold on just a second. I just want to show people. Oh, we are? How's the audio, by the way? And that's okay. I mean, it's good?
Really?
Really? I'm surprised. He's
But-
just going to kick it up right here, I think. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're going to keep rolling then.
Hi, Grego.
So, Greg, for 2018, he must have made a New Year's resolution to actually put on a top.
And pants.
Here, can I turn this around a little? No, we can't
No,
quite
don't
make
do-
it.
no,
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 we don't
no,
want to
no,
see
no.
it.
So here's the thing for me though. Like Christmas time. So my family came in. I allow myself to eat whatever I want. I don't. If I walk by a table with some sweets on it, I grab it and I eat it. I eat the heck. out of it.
Just get
I
it.
eat it. Chomp it down. Because I mean, when do you do that? Like I'm always conscious of what I'm eating and if I'm exercising and all that. Christmas time though, it's it, man. It's dark. I don't ask myself. I eat ice cream at 10 o'clock at night if I want, you know. And then I go and then I pay the price January 1, and deal with it then. And so doing that, guess how much weight I gained?
3 pounds.
5 pounds.
5 pounds? You
But
know,
I'm happy. I'll take 5 pounds. I'll knock that out, no problem.
Yeah, you can get rid of 5
You
pounds.
can get rid of 5 pounds, and for the
in a
happiness.
sauna session.
But
I mean, you might get rid of 5 pounds. Here, there's a small room with hot lights.
I know, but for the
This is-
happiness it brings you for not having to worry about it for a couple weeks.
And I
is pretty
agree.
good.
I don't really worry about anything either. You know, I don't like to feel like junk all day
No.
during the holidays. But I'm the same way. I'm like, yeah, there's a holiday delight right there.
Right.
Let's grab some of that. Let's eat it.
Right.
But I think the expectations we have a lot of times going into a new year are really inflated because it's like now you're gonna have your workouts planned and be ready to kick the new year in high gear. I think let's kind of have some buffer between the end of the year. Maybe let's January 8th.
You know, it's impossible to screw up your resolution if you set the threshold really low. Just follow my plan. Okay.
Set the
it's
bar.
way low, right? And then you can beat those, kick them in the butt every year. It's nice. I'll put out a blog post on that.
Well, you know what we're going to have to do today? And this might be unfortunate. We got a note on LinkedIn. Hey, guys,
Oh yeah.
how are your predictions for 2017 turning out?
And I love that because I can't stand you hear all these people, pundits on television, making predictions about the year, and then you're like, I'd like to go back and see if half the crap they said was true. And here we're being called out is what's happening.
Yeah, thank you, Davor. I appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Devor. Yeah, and he's a Leggett guy, so what the heck?
Yeah,
man?
well, you know, I like that. Number one, I mean, he's saying,
Yeah.
hey, how did it turn out? I really want to hear your analysis
Yep.
up to date and up to speed.
I like it.
And, you know, I looked back at our predictions for 2017, and,
How'd we do?
you know,
All right. Well, let's just start from the top.
let's start from the top.
Okay.
2017 prediction number one was businesses looking for creativity more than ever. They want to create unique experiences and promote products that are unique with a good story. That's going to be more critical and important than ever before. And I look at these predictions and I'm like, that's not quantifiable. Like, how can we know if that was actually something that people had to do or made a difference?
Well, and so in that case, I think we were right.
Boom!
If you can't quantify, no, I agree. That's tough. And as I listened to the podcast again, thanks to Dover, I came to the same conclusion. Well, I don't like. So what's the evidence of that being more creative, right, in the approach? And my guess is there are some guys that did do some stuff that was more creative. Although I would say this. I don't have a sense, maybe you do. I think we have our finger on the pulse of something that's going on in the industry. I don't have a sense that the industry turned towards that in any way. Do you?
In any significant way?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, but I do have a sense that independent retailers started getting more creative and at least recognizing there are ways that I can compete in a crowded marketplace with big players and consolidation, and it is through creativity because I've had people reach out to me.
Yeah.
And that's anecdotal evidence, but I would say if I were going to check the box on is the industry getting more creative or not, I mean, we had all of the stuff that happened between Tuft & Needle and Mattress Firm.
Right.
There was a lot of, like it or not, good or bad or indifferent, there was a lot of creativity around both approaches to going after those marketplaces. Then meanwhile, at like the independent retail level, I've been talking to people like Trent, at Trent Bedding. If we were to use him as an indicator of that prediction being true or not true, 100% true. Trent made a puppet of himself.
Yeah, right. Yep, I remember you telling me that.
And he just came out with a rap video, by the way, that's, we have some competition.
No, we don't. For real? Mm-hmm. So, wow, okay.
I'll link to it in the show notes for the podcast.
Please do. So I would say that, and plus people having to deal with the e-commerce stuff and getting, I would say that that's probably very true. I think there's evidence, tangible evidence, that the industry got pretty creative this year to try to, hey, look, it wasn't a great year. So I think the industry, and I know of a retail, I can't talk about it in detail, but they're doing some stuff on their floor that no one's ever done in terms of qualifying consumers when they come into the department. And it's pretty cool stuff. So as further evidence of being creative and doing stuff that no one else is doing, I think that's pretty solidly true.
Maybe to tack on to last year's prediction and bring it into 2018, I think that retailers and brands are going to have to get very creative in the way that they connect the offline and the online experience and give those continuity. Make them hold hands, make them seem seamless. So I think that's an opportunity for creativity, and I think more people are going to do that, especially considering if you listen to one of the past episodes of the podcast, we talked about growing up with who you are in relation to the internet. So as more people figure out this is how we're going to interface with the internet, you're going to see those experiences evolved and creativity being really brought to the surface in both channels.
I was talking to Ben yesterday with Sleep Sherpa, and I want to talk to you about that later.
Sorry, we're going to have to close this right now.
Yeah. We'll be back. No, and he was talking about people in the e-commerce space finding that niche because it's getting pretty crowded. And his conclusion, which is obvious, which is if you can find a unique piece to carve out, then by all means do that. But it's getting harder to do that, I think, in that space in particular. But yeah, I think I think there's been a lot of new cool stuff happening. So,
I'm wondering if
my pocket's ringing. Go ahead.
What is the evolution of some of the online brands and some of those entrants?
Right.
Is it personality is attached to it? A lot of times we're looking at this world in which influencer marketing is a major piece of the puzzle. I've even seen influencer marketing working at the retail level for clothing companies that don't have an online presence. So they only sell in physical stores, but they go into these markets and they look at, hey, who is influential in this marketplace? And they'll put product on them and they'll get them connected as those influencers. So maybe, online, if somebody's launching a brand like with a big personality or influencers who are maybe it's their name on the mattress, similar to what we see with Kathy Ireland or, even the president when he was doing the Serta line, things like that.
Yeah, well, no doubt.
Something there.
So one of our goals was to be the most listened to. I was looking, Devore has a thumbs up, so he's listening or watching.
Ah, hey, Devore.
Well, so the joke in my head was we're very big in Croatia. Because that's where Devore lives, right? Is he still
That was
in
one of our
Croatia?
goals, right, for 2017?
So to be huge in Croatia, which I think having Devore locked in here is really good. But anyway, so yeah, I think you were right, though.
Just making sure we did this.
Check the box.
Yep.
Oh, very good. Huge
in Croatia.
Huge in Croatia. Goal
Giant
accomplished.
checkbox on that one. Please don't check my spelling just in case. I'm just kidding.
All right, so what's
prediction number two? Prediction number two. E-commerce is going to continue to grow. I don't think that was a big prediction. It was the percentage at which it was going to grow. Kinsley said 20% of growth would come from e-commerce, and 20% of new growth you said 30%.
Yeah, we don't know that yet.
So I was right.
You don't know anything.
You were wrong. No,
You
you're
don't
supposed
know.
to fight with me now.
No, you're not right.
Yeah, I was right.
You are not right. Here's why. I don't think we don't know. We haven't seen the numbers, right? So a lot of pressure being put on ESPA. Everyone should be putting pressure on them to try to figure out, because we can say that we're a 3%, 4% growth, whatever. We have no freaking clue what our growth is because the e-commerce site isn't reporting. Now, people are estimating those things.
Right.
But I think ISPA has to really figure that out because it's a big piece of what's happening. So we'll find someone will come out in February, March, likely, with a report estimating the growth. So we'll come back to that. But I feel very strongly that I'm more right than you are. 20%, no. It's not going to be 20%. It's going to be bigger.
Hey, just give me the numbers, and
30,
I
35%
will
minimum.
beat them up.
You'll challenge them and
I will
discredit
challenge them to a duel.
All right, you'll discredit them.
Well, no, I think it's a good thing for us to be paying attention to, and I think it's a worthy initiative for the industry, especially as there is a major shift, or at least a portion of the pie has shifted to online. We need to understand that. We need to get a sense of, the dollars, the units, the imports,
Right.
all those factors, start to impact what happens in the industry and the way it's shaped.
Think of
going
it
forward.
this way. Who spent out of the bucket of money for advertising dollars spent in 2017? Who spent the most money advertising their products? You don't have to answer, but for you too, listening or watching, think about that. And then therein lies the answer, right? So who had the best years? I'm just guessing, right? So Tempur, probably. From a betting brand perspective, I'd say Casper and Lisa and Purple, really aggressive this year that I know. I haven't seen numbers, but my guess is you follow that trail, and the people who invested in their business probably saw the most benefit.
Yeah, and I think if you look at how is somebody in the future going to go about purchasing a mattress? Okay, so rewind like 10 years, and what are they going to do? They're going to recognize they have a bad back, and then they're going to start recognizing, oh my gosh, there's a TV commercial for a mattress store, check the circulars, go out and make some store visits. I mean, the way that we approach the market as a consumer these days has dramatically changed. I think if you're going to buy a mattress in this day and age, many, many people, and a growing number of people, are going online to at least research, even if they do plan to buy it in a brick and mortar store. So I got to get to a point here.
Yeah.
So if you say that's a trend and that's going to be magnified in the future, what's going to happen, I think, is that the people who have spent money online, I'm not talking about total spend, people who have spent money online
For
could
anything?
have could have a significant advantage because their skin is in the game and they figured out how to show up in search results. They figured out the way the internet works. And then a consumer, online or offline, doesn't matter, just by virtue of them searching, could potentially start interacting with brands they would have never seen before. It's already happening.
And it's funny because the brick and mortar guys clearly see the value. The e-commerce guys clearly see the value in brick and mortar experience because they're moving into retail at brick and mortar. The brick and mortar guys obviously know that they have to have a digital presence. So there's a lot of that happening, right? So I think you're right. Wouldn't it be interesting to see a slide that shows percentage of consumers buying things online superimposed with percentage of consumers buying mattresses online? I wonder how closely that tracks.
I've seen some
Growth-wise.
numbers like that.
Yeah.
I mean, What do we say right now? The estimates are around 10% of the market, 15% of the market is online mattresses. So in a $14 billion industry, but how many sales?
No, it was estimated at 6 mid-year.
So we got firm estimates. What from Epperson?
Yeah, but it was KeyBank actually. I believe that there was a KeyBank report that estimated $800 million of growth, and the estimation was half of that was going to come as a result of e-commerce guys. So 50% of the growth of the market was the e-commerce guys. Now, I can't remember if that was 2016 or 20. Anyway, we'll go back and look at that.
We can go back and, when 2019 rolls around, we can fire up this podcast. And
all right.
Are we going to make predictions this?
We probably should. And this time we'll make them where we should be able to measure them better for this next year. All right, so go ahead.
Prediction number 3, again, nothing we can quantify or back up or defend in any way, shape, or form is
so once again, we win.
Business above $1,000 at retail is more important than ever. Erosion below the $1,000 price points is going to make higher priced items with bigger margin more important to the retailer.
No doubt.
So you have a perspective on this.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that that's happened. I think just look at the largest retailer in the country, being Mattress Firm, having lost the Tempur-Pedic line, right, and the business at those price points. Having talked to a very large retailer on the East Coast as recently as a week ago, talking about how important that price point is. So no doubt in my mind that that's always going to continue to be important. And now more than ever because of the business climate. But yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think that definitely happened.
So if you're a retailer or retail manager, help them, maybe if they've played in that mid-range or lower tiered price points and they haven't participated upmarket, help them understand why is it that those price points that get north of $1,000, even into that $2,000 range, matter so much. I mean, obviously your margin dollars are going to be higher. You probably have a product with more name ID, which brings a consumer in somewhat pre-sold. But what else? I mean, what do you see?
Well, the conversations I'm having with big retailers, just from our side, the Spink and Niagara side, I mean, we're talking to big guys, and everyone's looking for something that's different, unique, that is able to capture the high price point. And if you are proven at those price points, I mean, there's not a lot of people that can sell beds above $3,000. There's just not. And so if you can do that, retailers want that. They do. They want it because it's a very healthy thing for their business. So I would tell you just anecdotally through conversations I'm having, as well as with people interested, as well as people just that I know in the market and talking about their own business, whether they're interested in us or not.
You gonna be at Las Vegas Market? Yeah,
I am. Yeah,
we talked about that.
Yeah.
Here's what we should do. Let's make some rounds. I'll go around with the SleepKey cameras and talk to people, and we'll kind of get a sense of what's happening north of 1,000, especially north of 2,000. I think that's, once you get 1,000 to 2,000, what happens in that conversation to me is very different than what happens north of 2,000.
No question.
So we'll get a sense of what products they're rolling out, the demand from retailers, and we'll kind of get a beat on this.
Yeah.
So, okay, good. That's number 3. Number 4.
Number 4. What happened?
Mark Quinn predicts Bob Sherman will be back in the industry and he will make big waves.
Shut up. Did I really?
Well played, Quinn.
Hey, Bob Sherman. Thank you. Yeah, wow.
Hold on. You said he'll make big waves. Can we quantify big waves?
I think Bob being in the industry is a big wave. Just the virtue of Bob being back in the... Bob, he started buying factories, right?
Yes, he's
That's
buying
big.
factories. That's
a big thing.
That's a big wave.
And you've heard a lot about Restonic. And I think they just launched a new Arizona Biltmore line. Did you see that?
Yes, I did see that.
That's pretty cool. High end, more evidence, right? So yeah, I think they. If it's my prediction, I absolutely think he made big.
Way to go on that prediction, even though it happened while we were making the podcast.
That is not true.
Prediction number 5.
Would you have let me get away with that prediction if that was happening during the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely.
You never would.
Absolutely.
You are lying.
I don't want to make you look bad.
Oh, you're so full of it. Anyway,
Too bad.
It happened. All right, so good. Check that.
Prediction number 5. You said they will find Bigfoot. Did they find him?
I don't think they did. I got.
They found him.
Did they really?
No, they actually found him. Yeah,
They did not.
he's in Croatia. Davor, let us
he's
know
in
how it's going.
Montana.
Okay.
Well, hey,
I
don't know.
And what I said was,
Sasquatch.
you remember what I said about Bigfoot?
No.
If we got a picture of him and all the pictures are blurry,
Yeah.
then
We
maybe
might know.
No,
Yeah.
maybe the pictures are perfectly fine and Bigfoot himself
Is
is
just- is
actually blurry.
Could be.
So we'll never know.
We'll never know.
So
Just see something. All right. So those are the predictions. All right. What are your predictions
you know who went to the Super Bowl last year?
for?
We have another prediction from last year. Who went to the Super Bowl last year?
Oh.
Evan, do you remember?
New England.
Who? The Falcons and Patriots. Okay. So you predicted that the Dallas Cowboys would go to the Super Bowl.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Hey.
What are these predictions?
But you know what? That was this year.
What would have been?
It would be for 2017. So well, okay. In defense of me, who knew Ezekiel Elliott was going to be in big trouble and get a 6-game suspension?
You're the one making
that crushed
predictions,
everything.
not me.
Well, I couldn't have predicted that. So in my defense, so the prediction would be who's going to go. So we don't know that yet, actually. Right?
So you're going to take the Cowboys again?
For next year?
I
don't know.
Evan, what do you think?
Kansas
The
City
Chiefs, huh? All right.
There's a homer right there. What do you think? So I said Cowboys. Anyone else?
I mean, if you keep saying the Chiefs over and over again, it's bound to happen, right?
I'm going to say Cowboys again.
50 years ago.
I'd like to say the Bears, but I'm sorry, they're not going to go. So, all right, so predictions for this year. Anything off the top of your head?
You know,
How about you? Any predictions from you?
Well, hold on a second. We've got some comments here coming in on Facebook Live. Thank you, Davor. Appreciate that. Garrett Aaron Doctor. Amazon says they are going to buy Target this year. How will that impact our industry? Amazon says they are going to buy
that's interesting.
Target.
We'll talk about that one in a second. Garrett also says adjustable bases are the answer to the $15.99 plus tickets. I don't disagree with that at all. But they're lower margin, unfortunately, than some of the beds. But you get those good, healthy, solid luxury beds. Our beds actually have a 50%. We don't sell a lot of box springs. Probably 50% conversion rate for Spink and Edgar. So half of the box springs are adjustable bed bases. So that's kind of interesting. And then Laura Pasco says Falcons all the way.
Falcons
she was
all the
answering
way.
her question, actually.
Oh,
Probably,
you were saying, well,
she probably said who went, so she's saying Falcons. But let's go back to the Target thing. Had you heard that?
that is news to me. Thank you very much for that tip, Garrett. I had not heard anything about Amazon buying Target. That's a very aggressive
So play
move.
that out. What does that do? I mean, that gives them. So we just said earlier, the e-commerce guys going into brick and mortar, right? And then the brick and mortar guys going,
E-commerce going
shoring
back
up
to brick and mortar.
their digital presence. If Amazon buys Target, think about what they could do with that.
Amazon, Whole Foods, Target, Amazon's reseller marketplace that I think people discount as a giant distribution piece of the puzzle. It really is kind of a
it becomes
nod.
a pickup center.
It's a nod to the fact that an evolution of retail has to happen, and what that looks like is probably a lot of digital natives
But isn't it
coming
this?
back.
It's this like coming together, right? The digital and the brick and mortar.
I think you guys can make some comments on Facebook Live, but if Amazon buys Target, I think the first thing that people think is, that's scary.
Yeah, but Target's not. I don't know how many stores they have. I like that play.
I mean, if
though.
you're a Walmart employee, right? Like Walmart has to be thinking that this is terrifying in some way.
Yeah, but Walmart's got a good, strong presence online, though. I mean, they own retail distribution.
And actually, over Black Friday, Amazon and Walmart tied in sales.
And Walmart's killing it, man. They've fumbled, in my opinion, around with their e-commerce initiative for a while. They finally got that right, I think. And they're not Amazon, but I think they have a pretty and when you have that many stores, right? So I think Amazon, it's smart from their perspective. And I actually like Target. Don't you? In terms of the merchandising assortment Target has. I like it because it's middle of the road. It's average America. They can skew up a little bit, but I like it. I think it's a smart play. I haven't thought about it other than
let's
5
make it
minutes.
one of our predictions for 2018.
Which is what?
At least one single massive consolidation, especially if we have the heads up that Target is potentially an acquisition target for Amazon.
So what do you think they do? So it'll be interesting to see what happens if Target does that, what the merchandising assortment becomes. You know what I'm saying?
It's a major logistics play.
Yeah, do they change Target's assortments at all? Or do they push more of their Amazon best sellers into the brick and mortar? Like, how do you manage that?
Well, I think part of that we can get an indication from Whole Foods. I mean, I think already they've rolled out some Whole Foods essentials at lower price points because one of the criticisms of Whole Foods is its whole paycheck.
Expensive, right?
So, yeah, I mean, I think even online, so Amazon has rolled out like some of their basics lines.
I stepped on what you said, by the way. You said Whole Foods equals whole paycheck. I think that's kind of funny. I hadn't heard that before. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, but I mean, Amazon has changed some of their merchandising to have owned branded products that are essentials, right?
Yeah.
So Amazon basics, like backpacks and USB drives and all that stuff. So now some of those basics are being rolled out at Whole Foods. So Jeff Bezos has always said, your margin is my opportunity. So that's going to be the same strategy essentially that Walmart followed. So if you do take over Target, I think your essentials line of products that are almost everyday low prices-esque become a much broader basket of goods.
Thin margins. One of the things about Bezos is he gives away Amazon Prime to people with Amazon and then eventually starts charging for it, gets you hooked on the deal, right, whatever it is, and then he starts charging you for the deal once you have it. So he's done that on a couple different things with his business platform. So
we got another prediction rolling in here from Brian Torpy says Apple is going to buy Netflix to repatriate money without tax.
Ooh, wow! So interesting.
And you could end up with a lot of really interesting business deals that are all woven around that idea right there.
So for anyone paying attention, and thank you, Brian, that's an interesting thought. Here's what's fascinating about that to me, and it was 3 years ago, I don't know when it was, everyone kept saying content is king. That's a content play for Apple. You know, I mean, think about all of the content they would have that they could add to their already very large library of content. I think it's pretty dang smart. Plus, they got a whole bunch of cash on the books, so that makes sense to me. Now, when you say repatriate, Brian, are you saying that bringing money from overseas, so they make it an acquisition, therefore there's a tax benefit to them? Is that what you're talking about? So it's money coming in from overseas as a result of the new tax plan? Or is it just taking money domestically and buying Netflix? I don't know.
Or, yeah, it could be taking a large portion of their offshore cash for the purchase of Netflix. And if you bring that cash back in without any type of attachment to it,
in a purchase scenario, there might be a tax benefit.
The tax benefit probably should.
Well, given how much we are experts.
Thank you, Brian. That's it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, given the fact that we are literally tax experts.
Nice job.
You and me.
Me, you, and Roger Russell.
Tax experts. H&R, Kinsley, and Quinn is what that is. So the tax code. Do you think people are, before we end on our projections here, or what are we calling
predictions?
Predictions. Do you think that people are going to be fired up about the new tax plan where in the mattress industry, so there's some latent need, right? And I'll tell you what, right now, December, I'm hearing a lot, December and even so far in January, business is not good for a lot of people out there. It's like really, really bad, actually, double-digit bad for half a dozen conversations I've had in the last couple of weeks. Does the new tax plan, people seeing more money in their paycheck, the favorable tax conditions for corporations where they can do more with their money, what impact does that have, and how long does it take to have on the mattress industry specifically.
I mean, I think anytime you put money back in people's pockets, they're going to spend a lot of it right away.
But will they prioritize this? Maybe that's a good
Will they prioritize a mattress? Potentially. I mean, I was reading Jerry Epperson's newsletter, his Furniture Digest newsletter, and he was talking about how home remodels are going to be on the uptick this next year. Now, for us in the mattress industry, remodel is probably not as good as buying a new home or moving to a new home, because those are conditions that both people often buy a new mattress to accommodate. But that means people are holding on to their homes and they're going to make a major change. So, conceivably, you could say, hey, we're going to invest this much money anyway. Our house is going to be torn up. There's going to be dust anywhere. We're going to take some of this money that's back in our pocket and put it into a complete refresh. So I think the conditions could be there. I don't know if we get prioritized necessarily over some of the other consumer goods, but I do think this past year has been very good for category awareness. Even if business is down, I think our category awareness still remains pretty high.
I have a thought for you. Did that hurt?
No.
You're chiseled, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it bounces
clearly.
right off of you. You got the.
Did you do something? Did you actually touch me?
No, I didn't. No, yeah, I did. I thumped the crap.
How's your
out of
hand?
So, I know, Greg. He's full of it, isn't he?
Just don't hit my Adam's apple. That would really hurt. It's like if you had a railroad
How about
spike.
your forehead?
Yeah, dang.
So, see, I lost my train of thought.
I have a question.
No, wait. Oh, so okay. New Year's resolutions, right? So, and this goes to: are we at the top of the consumer list, right? Adam Ashbourne in Europe helped me put a presentation together for the National Bedding Federation. I just happened to watch it over. It was like several years ago, but I watch it for a couple of reasons. In there, we talk about, are we on the top of the consumer list or the bottom of the consumer list, right? So as people have more money in their pocket, whereas mattresses, are we on the top of their list, or are we a have to get it because my bed sucks purchase, which I think is probably right. If we as an industry did a better job of connecting ourselves to happier, healthier life and sleep, then when people have excess money, not access, Kinsley.
Either one.
Excess, money in excess. They have disposable income, let's say that. Then they would be more likely to go out and purchase what we offer, right? So there's that thought. And then another one, and then respond to both. You don't see a lot of people doing New Year's resolutions around sleep. We should start that, right? So it's always, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to lose weight. You don't hear a lot of people going, my goal for 2018 is to sleep more. Why not, right? So start and comment on top of the list, bottom of the list, and then swerve into...
Let's start at the very end here with sleep.
All right.
And then I'll go back to are we at the top or the bottom of the list. When it comes to sleep, we've lived in a world that's full of sleep shaming.
Right.
And full of people that...
Lack of sleep is a badge, right?
Lack of sleep is a
badge.
badge.
I only slept 4 hours last night. I worked my butt off.
Yeah, we should be saying, hey, your odds of dementia are increasing.
Right.
With every night that you don't... And by the way, you're looking a little bit thick around the midsection there. You want to lose some weight, just get more than 5-6 hours of sleep. You need to be in that 7.
And everyone listening right now, I want you to try that today. Go up to someone and say, hey, look, you're looking a little fat. You need to sleep more. I want you to try that and tell me.
Yeah,
and report back to us and tell us how it works.
Hit him in the chest, just like he did me.
Thump him right in the chest. And if you get hit, we're... Interest is not deductible. Thank you, Brian, by the way. Interest is not deductible.
So going back to sleep shaming, I think we are moving out of this era of sleep shaming. I think we're moving into a place where people value sleep, where they understand the health benefits, and where they just don't want to suffer anymore. Like when people get back to neutral on sleep and they feel themselves fully refreshed, it's life-changing. It can be life-changing. With Ariana Huffington's effort, her books, everything we're doing at the Better Sleep Council, all of these factors are creating a surround sound effect where people are like, you know what? Yeah, I've got my nutrition and my fitness buttoned up. I feel good about those things. I can have a basic conversation about them, but I don't know anything about sleep. They're getting interested in it with sleep trackers. Sleep trackers have been great, I think, because all of a sudden you had people monitoring something in relation to sleep, something. And when they do that, their baseline awareness and knowledge rises.
Right.
So your baseline's better. You're sleeping more. You're valuing it more. So I think those factors have contributed to us moving into the decade of sleep, and we're at the beginning of it.
I think so, and I'm just impatient because I really believe if we as an industry became a solution for that problem instead of a product on price and promotion, things would change drastically for us.
Yeah,
But
we're not a TV console.
We're not.
Okay, TV console to me is soulless. Like, it just holds up the TV. That's why people started hanging TVs on the wall.
So NordicTrack, you mentioned them earlier. Look at their spots.
I did?
Fitness stuff. Yes, you did. But look at any kind of
I did!
exercising equipment. They're not selling the freaking treadmill. They're not. They're not. Look at the bicycle.
Peloton.
They're not selling that bike. They're not. They're selling what comes as a result of using that bike. That's what they're selling. Anyway.
And what it takes is an entire industry doing that.
I agree.
Focusing on the benefits, focusing on the person that's going to make, the lifestyle they can lead.
And we're doing better. There's no doubt.
Absolutely,
I shouldn't be so critical, but boy, we have a long way to go. So
and if you talk about putting us at the top of the list or the bottom of the list, I think that we are getting closer to at least the middle of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, consumer electronics have absolutely put a barb in us for a long time.
Right.
I think that people want a couch more than they do a mattress a lot of times because you cover it up. But as we move into this decade of sleep, I think the pecking order is changing. And honestly, I think the competition, even though it's stiff, creates more creativity and more awareness, better advertising, and consumers respond to that. They respond to it with their money coming to our industry instead of another one, and with valuing sleep more. We got to make it about that.
I hope you're right.
That's my prediction.
I hope you're right. You're giving it a decade to evolve.
Let's check back in 2028.
I'm on board with that. So back to this. Did you answer the first part of that?
Why Z? Why are you sleeping,
I guess we're putting Brian to sleep. By the way, he did send a note saying he's going to make consumers pause. Cost of borrowing will go up both ways. Mattresses are always a delayable purchase. It's hard to argue that, except for the people who really value sleep. It's not a delayable purchase. It's a want thing.
Hey, Garrett, I love the connection in the comment section here on Facebook Live. Garrett is saying that my store offers a discount with my local gym when you purchase a mattress. That connects sleep to fitness.
Dude, I love that.
Health.
That's really, I've never heard of that. Have you?
I have not.
I like that.
Well played. Thanks for
cool.
sharing, Garrett.
Thank you, Garrett.
I think that's the thing about this industry that I do love. I think people, to some degree, are willing to share what they're doing, and not keep it so contained that nobody else. Now you got your special sauce. I understand that, but I think we're a pretty share. We share things. We come together as a community, and we really kind of have the same mission. Around better sleep
in our industry.
Yeah, even at retail.
Kind of.
I mean, I see it like at the mega group events. People brainstorming, talking about each other's businesses in a safe environment.
Where's the evidence of that, though?
Of what? At the mega group event.
But okay, open a paper, go online, and look at television ads. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of mattress advertising hooks the product of a mattress or the essentials? Can't forget those, pillows, sheets, all of that stuff. Very important. Hooks those items into, hey, have that, live better quality of life. What percent do you think?
1.
You think?
1 to 2%.
So that's my point. That means
that wasn't my point, though.
There's a lot, but you're saying
you're
that we're
changing.
You're
fake news.
You said
fake news.
And everyone's listening with earphones just freaked out. You said though that going to like events and whatnot. You said that we are circling the wagons around a common.
No, I said Garrett.
That's why I'm saying. I don't
Garrett
know about
said
that.
Shared something about his business.
Right. Got that.
And I love that people in this industry tend to share.
I got
here's
that.
what we're doing that works. But I hear what you're saying.
So they're willing to share things. I totally understand. I thought you meant that we had kind of crossed over and now we are all circling around. Okay, so I misunderstood.
But it's funny. A lot of the people that interact with us on Sleep Geek, many people that interact with us on Sleep Geek are following. Maybe it's our advice. Maybe it's their own thoughts. Maybe it's a combination. Maybe they're quarterbacking this stuff and bringing it together. But it's something related to better sleep, connected to the mattress.
No
I
doubt.
see it all the time through Sleep Geek, and that's what the point of this community is.
Well, you're right, and I love that stuff. When I know it's a good idea, it's when
it comes out of your head. I know.
No, someone like it is that is partially true, not always true. Someone like Garrett recommends something like that or tells us a story about what they're doing, and you go, "I wish I had that thought myself."
Yeah.
Right? When you think that, it's a great idea, or think it is anyway. So, any other predictions for you?
So I predict in
How's Pete, by the way?
Pete
the dog.
Yeah, so my dog Pete.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So Pete was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
And he's doing really well. So here's the thing.
Does he have cancer?
He has cancer.
So diagnosed.
Not
and
for long
confirmed.
though, because we're about to get past it.
So he's doing chemotherapy.
Yeah. So Pete, it was a tumor on his leg.
Yeah.
And we decided if it had spread anywhere else, that we would just do the right thing for Pete, which probably wasn't going to be putting him through a treatment.
No.
But then we decided, let's X-ray him, see what happened. It had not spread anywhere.
Wow.
And Pete hadn't lost a step. Like he was
happy,
running, happy, wanted to go on his walks.
That's
he was
awesome.
Barking. Like for some reason, he grunts at us all the time, like a pig or something. We're like, he's still doing all that stuff. He's good. And so he's on his like 4th round of chemo, I think today, or 5th round. He does 6 total, and then we're just gonna get past it and move on and live.
Wow.
Keep on living. JKL. Just keep living.
Just keep living. Good for Pete. Good job.
Yeah.
Good.
So Buster's
Love
there,
that.
like, is his support system.
Yeah.
And so thanks to everybody.
You think? Sorry, go ahead.
No, people have reached out, like Jeff Shire on social media.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
So
You guys.
is Buster? Do you think is Buster your other dog aware that Pete's sick?
Can
Can you sense that from him?
The
or-
other night, they have their own beds that they sleep
Yeah.
in, and Pete was in Buster's bed with him, which he usually is not. So I don't know if Pete was a little bit cold, and Buster's like, "Come on, buddy, it's
Yeah,
okay,"
yeah.
But he's a really sweet dog, so
Yeah.
he's always nice.
Well, they're both sweet dogs.
Yeah,
Cool.
they are.
So
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, of course. Any other predictions from you before we?
I predict that Mark Quinn
Oh my.
and I and Michael Magnuson from GoodBed.com will have drinks in Las Vegas.
Oh man. I hope you're right. Now the question is, will we have drinks in Las Vegas at the karaoke bar in Chinatown that Magnuson and Jeff and my brother? No, my brother wasn't there. It was me and Magnuson.
You don't even remember.
And Jeff. Well, I mean, it was one of those nights. I mean, we drank all their booze and
I
sang a
also
lot of songs.
predict that at ISPA 2018 coming up in March, you got to come see Leggett and Platt at ISPA.
Ooh, are you having a party?
We're having a party. I guarantee there's gonna
You
be a party.
You have a band?
And I predict I'm gonna put on my dancing shoes.
Shut up.
And I predict I'll be up on stage
Ooh.
doing something. I'm not sure what yet.
Ooh, nice.
And if I toss you a mic, I predict that you're gonna grab it and start. You're
You
gonna
know what?
You're
I don't know,
bring your
man.
harmonica.
Well, if there's another rap video out there, I think we need to really think about another version of a rap song.
Would you
If
come
there's
to the
kind-
party this year? Your
Absolutely.
First invitation right here, live
Absolutely.
on the podcast.
Yeah, there's no better party in the industry than the one Leggett and Platt throws at ISPA. There's no doubt, hands down, bar none. There is no better party.
It's really good.
Yeah, you guys do it right.
Well, you and I rapped on stage one year.
Well, you rapped on. I don't think I rapped on stage, did I?
Yeah, you kind of rapped on stage. We were up there.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 white boys. That's not. I don't know. Not too. You're much better at it than I am.
After which, I remember Mike. Speaking of Mike Magnuson, he came up to me and he goes,
Don't ever do that again.
"No," he said, "that could have gone really badly."
Yeah.
But he's like, "It really worked out."
Man, here's the thing. Whenever you get up to do karaoke, like my sister-in-law Jessica, master soprano. She's got a good voice, not an amazing voice, but she's one of the best karaoke people I know because when she's on stage, you believe it.
Yeah.
She delivers it. She kicks the high leg. She does all kinds of stuff, man. But she sells it. You got to sell it.
You gotta sell it.
I don't care how bad you are. Just sell it.
Just keep selling. JKS. All
And
right.
on that note, we wish everybody a really happy 2018.
Happy 2018. Thank you so much for tuning in on Facebook Live. Thank you for following the podcast. By the way, I just wanted to mention something.
Like
if you
us
go
on
to
the
your
podcast.
Yeah,
right?
if you go to your podcast app on your iTunes app,
Yes.
your podcast app on your iPhone,
Yes.
you can now rate the podcast from within the app. So if you want to go
Can
in
you?
there,
Good.
please rate us. And even if you're just rating Mark Quinn for all the good qualities, give him the 5 stars, not me.
Or don't downgrade us because of Mark Quinn. Think about Kinsley and all the good stuff he represents. I think that's important. Rate his hair. If you rate his hair, just rate his hair. That's good. We'll get 5s. One parting word from you to the audience here. Piece of advice for 2018.
I do have a piece
On
of
the
advice
spot.
for
Okay.
2018.
Hit us.
The
And then we'll sign up.
the World Health Organization
Oh boy.
just categorized gaming addiction as an official
What?
condition.
Wow.
Gaming addiction, meaning people who play games online or on the Xbox or whatever
Yes.
it may be. So my prediction is what's going to happen next is they're going to categorize smartphone addiction as a recognized health disorder. So here's my advice.
I buy that. I get it.
Totally. I mean, you see it all the time. I know people. I actually know people
I have 2 teenagers,
who are
man.
addicted to video games.
I have 2 teenagers, and we go through 35, 40 gigs worth of data with 4 people, and it's mostly the kids.
So let me zoom out. Okay, so there's like a fast fact you can share with people. But here's my advice. Meditate or journal in 2018. And here's why. Gaming addiction, smartphone addiction, whatever it might be, it's simply saying to us that the world is trying to distract you and it wants your attention. So in order to put yourself in the driver's seat, you have to think about your thoughts and you have to get clear on them. And when you meditate, that's what you're simply doing, is thinking about your thoughts, recognizing them, letting them go, and going back to breathing or being present. Journaling does the same thing. You get the thoughts out of your head, down on paper, and you get intentional with things. But I think there are very few mechanisms for getting to that place where you're in the driver's seat, you feel intentional, and you're the one that's calling the shots instead of reacting to the world around you. And that helps your business and your life and your family.
No doubt. In meditation, you fired me up about that, so I got an app. Headspace, which was really cool. And I stopped doing it, and I loved it for the time I was doing it. So it's a good reminder to me. And my experience was it gave me real focus on stuff. It allowed me. It was training my mind, I believe, to give me more focus. Where I'm ADD anyway, it's hard for me to really stay with something. And I think it helped me with that. So I like that, and it gives some peace, right? And
absolutely.
Reduces stress for sure.
If people talk about happiness a lot, I think that was like one of the most over-indexed subjects of the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And whenever you boil it all down, the happiest people had one thing in common: presence.
Really?
Whether it was presence to something that was...
They get lots of presents?
Look at this guy. Dad joke, huh? Look at dad joke over here.
Giannakavo's on now. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. What's up, Jeff? No, they were present. Whether they were present to things that were uncomfortable or magnificent or whatever it meant. And presence is a skill. And what do you ultimately want out of life? Do you want to look back at your time with kids or interacting with customers or being with friends and be like, yeah, I really don't remember any of that? Or do you want to be like, that was awesome. I was there the whole time. I enjoyed it and absorbed it.
And it's true, Mark. I tell my kids that too, because they're buried in their devices. And as a father that travels, I have guilt, like most people watching this or listening to this that travel. And so what I say is I try to be present and really there when I'm home. And I don't travel that much, but still presence is a big deal with your wife, with your kids. And I tell it to my kids too, because they, when I'm talking to them, they get any kind of alert, man, their head's right back on their phone. And they're good kids, but it's an addiction. It is an addiction.
Well, and they've even shown that whenever those alerts go off, it releases a shot of dopamine into the brain, which is your reward center. Mm-hmm. And so if your reward center is constantly being stimulated by something, then you're going to be trained to look at it.
Who's the guy that did MySpace and ended up helping Sean, that dude.
Yes.
They had a clip of him in an interview recently saying, yeah, man, we knew this was going to be addictive. We knew it was probably not going to be great for people, but we did it anyway. And I'm like, wow. And he was really arrogant in the interview. And so it is definitely all of that. And, truthfully, I'm so turned off by a lot of social media. I rarely am surfing it like I used to. Interesting.
What I love about social media is being able to do things that really do help people, serve people. So I hope stuff like this is like, okay, we're baking this into our business and being the best store we can be. I don't want it to be like a major distraction. I want it to be something that hopefully that helps people out. I want your parting words of advice for 2018.
And you just said it, serve people. I think that, I don't know, man. I think if you are looking for ways to serve people, I think number one, it helps people because you're serving them. But I think it's amazing what it does for you personally. And so just look for that. Look out. Let a measure of the success of your year when you look, when we're in December of 2018, we look back and we go, how well did I do serving others? And I said only because it's a positive thing. And I don't know. I personally think it does a lot for me.
I'm going to piggyback on that.
And I could do a lot more, obviously, but I mean.
Put a goal down. I'm going to serve or help people, 52 people, one a week.
Yeah.
And I'm going to maybe use the journaling thing and reflect on it. That way, you know, I've got a goal to go after, keeping myself accountable, and it creates a habit that's going to last a lifetime.
You know,
Truly.
and that could be something as simple as someone lost a job and they're in the market for a job, and they are needing help. Take their resume, forward it to some people, and make a phone call. Like, make efforts that way, and that doesn't take a lot.
Or you could. This is kind of a funny story, and I wasn't going to share it ever, but
now that
I was interrupted. So I was running, and I'm coming. You know where it's at? I was coming down 26th Street down that hill on the sidewalk, and I'm running, and I've got a good pace going on. My knee had been hurting, so I was really pumped to be back at it.
Did you fall?
Didn't fall. I look over, and there's a woman on a hover round.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up her driveway, and I'm like cruising, right? And she was kind of stopped, and I'm like, I just slowed down. I'm like, hey, do you need help? Do you need me to bring your trash cans in? Because they were huge trash cans. And she was going out there on this thing, and I stopped, and I said, can I bring your trash cans in for you? She said, yeah, that'd be great. And her name was Billy. She was really nice. And then she's like, "Do you mind getting my mail for me?" Her mailbox is right there, and it's hard to get her card out there. So no problem. So I'm getting her mail, and I'm dragging her trash cans. Here comes my neighbor Eric in his Tesla, right?
Oh yeah.
And he's cruising up. He's like cursing at me, "Dude, I was gonna give you a hard time, but you're doing F blah." Like not even thinking about that. There's this older lady right here that helps.
Standing right
I was
there.
gonna give you a hard time, but you're doing something nice.
Oh, well, see, that's nice.
And so I put her trash cans up there. But it reminded me, I'm like, even though you're going as fast as you can and you feel like you're firing on all cylinders, that's maybe the moment when it is good to slow down. And even if
when it's inconvenient.
Even if your neighbor Eric is heckling you with curse words.
I'll leave you with one funny story that is counter to serving people, which is a complete contradiction. I'm at Silver Dollar City, okay, amusement park, kind of like a Six Flags. There's this massive hill, right? Super steep. Okay, and there is a very large woman at the base of this hill looking up the hill as if thinking to herself, how the hell am I going to get this wheelchair up that hill? So I said, can I push you up the hill? Do you need help? She goes, yes, I would love some help. Now, this was in the summer when this happened. So I get behind this, and I'm happy to do it, of course. So I get behind this wheelchair, and I push her up this hill. I'm going to tell you, it took me every bit of 20 minutes. And I'm not as strong as you are, Kensley, so for me it was quite the effort. But so I get her finally to the top of this hill, and I'm sweating. I mean, it's sun's beating down, and I'm just absolutely sweating. So I get her to, have I told you this story? You know what's gonna happen. I get her to the top of the hill. She stands up and grabs the wheelchair and says, "Thanks so much," and walks off with the wheelchair. You can't make it up.
Hey, but you know what? It's better than you forgetting to set the brake and she rolls all the way back down.
That's what you thought. No, and Bridget is at the bottom of the hill laughing her butt off with my kids because they thought that was so funny.
That's a great example of serving people for the sake of doing it, not because they're going to appreciate it or for any other reason.
Yep, no
I
doubt.
commend you.
Yeah, well, hey,
next time I'm at Silver Dollar City, I'm just going to sit down at the bottom and wait for somebody like you to come.
We need to go up the hill.
Where's Mark Quinn when you need him? Huh?
Yeah, right. All right. Well, everyone out there, all you geeks, thanks so much, and have a great year, man. And go out and tackle it and wrestle it to the ground and own it and be everything you were intended to be this year.
Happy 2018. Just don't let it start until January 8th.
Amen to that.
Later.